It was a verdict heard around the nation. Many are reflecting on what former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's guilty verdict means. In tonight's Wayne's World, senior reporter Wayne Koval speaks with two prominent Petersburg residents about the outcome, the past, and the future.
Well, unless any of the parties object, I'm going to kick our jurors loose.
This trial for some represented a struggle centuries long, and now for them, justice was long overdue.
Because of so much that has gone on in the past, everybody had in the back of their mind, well, maybe they will do it right. Not really looking for them to do it right.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
When the verdict came in of guilty, it was a release.
Mickens, at 72 and a longtime Petersburg resident, remembers well civil unrest, civil discord, and how George Floyd was a reminder of the past.
All of us have value in our lives, and to see a life devalued purely because of a race becomes a driving factor, but the greater factor is the disdain for human life.
Vernon Johns.
At 89, Reverend Dr. Andrew White is a well-known Petersburg pastor and civil rights leader.
I've seen it because I went to purely segregated schools, purely segregated.
And not just at school.
When I grew up, the things that we endured, and we paid no attention to them, but it was part of the growing up. It was difficult.
Tuesday, as the trial verdict is read.
One time you just were fighting for a seat on the bus, or a seat at the table to eat, or a place to sleep. That was it. It wasn't about jobs and promotion and that kind of, but it has broadened so that this mantle will cover everybody as it is, as we dream it as a country.
Now, with a guilty verdict, Annie Mickens says it's time to move forward.
The next move is to do that which is right, to make the changes in policy, to create the reform in the law enforcement engagement, to deal with the changes that must be made.
Both Mickens and Reverend White remember well the past.
We were in the mindset of, how can he not be guilty? The evidence is so overwhelming. The events were so catastrophic. How can he not be guilty? But we've been through the times when to deal with the reality just did not happen, and that's the scary part.
But this time,
the whole world saw it.
There was something else.
That camera did a whole lot of this. Had it not been for that camera, I don't know whether this would have come out that same way or not.
And if the verdict had been different,
as far as respect, world respect, and self-respect, it would have been our moment down.
Both White and Mickens remember the local and national civil rights leaders from generations past who didn't live to see what is happening.
Tragedy is so many of that generation have passed on. And so the strength of the fight must be rebuilt. And that is what you see now. You see the strength of the fight for equality, for equity, for reform. That's what you see now.
Reverend White and former Mayor Annie Mickens say they are now waiting on the sentencing phase of the trial. Both believe what has happened in the past year has opened the eyes of many to the importance of equality. That's a look inside Wayne's World. I'm Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.